The Oklahoma City Thunder are officially champions after defeating the Pacers on Sunday, and what a ride it's been for the Thunder and their fans from the Westbrook, Harden, Durant era. So many missed opportunities, so many just close games, close to winning the title, and they've finally done it. They're the 2025 NBA champs.
Not gonna lie, very salty being Blazer fans. Just everyone in the division except for us in Utah is just eating right now.
Yeah.
Sucks to see, but I mean, credit to the Thunder. They built their team the right way. Sam Presti and that front office, talk about a perfectly executed rebuild.
Before we start talking about how the Thunder built the championship team, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any new videos. So we have to start this story in Portland, Oregon, April 23rd, 2019. And it's not just because we want to bring up the Blazers right away in a video about how the Thunder built a championship team, but this game completely changed the trajectory of their franchise, so it has to be talked about. The Thunder were down 3-1 going into this game, facing elimination. It could be their third straight first round exit, second straight with the Paul George and Russell Westbrook duo, but they played great all night. It really looked like they were gonna extend this series. With just over 7 minutes left in the fourth, they take a commanding 15-point lead, and then they just completely fell apart.
Yeah, Blazers go on a big run. Dame ends them with a 36-foot bomb in Paul George's face, you know, the bad shot, right?
Yeah.
As he would very famously say. And yeah, like, of course, we love bringing up the Blazers, but this is quite literally the genesis for this whole Oklahoma City rebuild that they started. Even still, though, in the immediate aftermath of the game, didn't feel like a rebuild was on the horizon. I mean, Westbrook was just entering his 30s, had always been loyal to the Thunder, especially after KD left. Paul George, who was coming off the best season of his career, had just signed a 4-year extension with them the prior offseason. Like, yeah, the supporting cast wasn't amazing, but you still had a young Jeremy Grant, Dennis Schroeder, Steven Adams. Like, I felt like they were just gonna run it back the next year.
Yeah, and it's tough to tell exactly what happened. You know, Paul George has said, like, you know, Russ demanded a trade first, but regardless, everything changed like right away. Paul George meets with Kawhi. He decides to request a trade to the Clippers, and eventually we get the shocking night. Of course, we'll talk about it till the end of time, where Kawhi signs with the Clippers in free agency, and the Thunder trade Paul George there for a haul that included Shea, Danilo Gallinari, Miami's 2021 first, the Clippers 2022 first, the right to swap with the Clippers in 23, the Clippers 2024 first, the Heat's 2025 first, the right to swap with the Clippers in 2025, and the Clippers 2026 first round pick. Basically all of these unprotected, by the way.
Yeah, outrageous. Like, again, we're gonna defend the Clippers in that they had to do this. If they didn't do it, they weren't gonna get Kawhi, and not only were they not gonna get Kawhi, he was gonna go to the Lakers. So you get Kawhi, you get Paul George, and you keep Kawhi, who was entering like best player in the world talks around the time, coming off the championship with the Raptors. You keep him away from your city rival. Like, if you're the Clippers, a franchise that has been irrelevant for basically their entire existence outside of the Lob City era, you had to do this. It's still an outrageous amount of stuff to give up for Paul George, but you had to do it.
And then shortly after that, the Thunder sent Russ to the Rockets. As we mentioned, you know, he'd always been loyal to the team, but you couldn't have him with like KD gone, Paul George gone to stick their rebuild. It just wouldn't have been fair. And on top of that, OKC stockpiles more draft picks. You get Chris Paul, you get a pick swap in 2021 and 2025, and then you get first in 2024 and 2026. And then you also send out Jeremy Grant to the Nuggets for a future first. So outside of having Chris Paul on the roster, it looked like this was a complete rebuild.
Yeah, and projections for the Thunder where they were going to be like a late lottery team, I thought they were going to be one of the worst teams in the NBA. I mean, they just detonated and basically gave up like 3 of their best 4 players probably from the season prior. I thought they were going to be But we also got to mention that they added Lou Dort that offseason as an undrafted free agent. So in one offseason, you get back a treasure trove of draft picks, a future MVP, and a guy who's developed into one of the best defenders in the league. So pretty good summer, honestly.
Yeah. And to the shock of everyone outside of Oklahoma and probably even inside Oklahoma.
To everyone, yeah, everyone. Yeah, we're gotta stop doing this gimmick. Like, oh, to the shock of everyone outside of Oklahoma. No, this was shocking to everyone inside Oklahoma too.
Yeah, the Thunder were really good in the bubble shortened season. They go 44-28. Actually, by win percentage, a better season than they had the previous year when they had Russ and MVP candidate Paul George.
That's spectacular.
I mean, Chris Paul was just incredible for them. You had Shea taking a big leap in year 2, up to scoring to 19 points a night. And then Gallinari, Schroeder, Steven Adams, they all had good seasons. You get the 5th seed in the bubble, facing the Rockets in the first round. So like Russ and Chris Paul playing their former teams.
Yep. God, this is one of the series you look at and you're like, it would be so much better if we had live crowds.
Yeah.
COVID-19. God damn it.
I mean, just fuck you.
Thunder go down 0-2 initially, but they respond. They win the next 2 games, tie the series at 4 apiece. That's when the Rockets got Russ back. He was out with a quad injury prior to that. Rockets then blow out the Thunder in game 5, but OKC responds with a close win in game 6, setting up game 7. Winner advances to the second round to take on the Lakers, but the Rockets eventually survive. A learning experience, a tough way to go out again. You go out in the first round now for the 4th straight season, but still an absolutely shocking year for them to be this successful after it looked like they blew everything up.
When they didn't want to be successful, if we're being honest. During the draft, the Thunder traded Emmanuel Quickley, who they had selected with the 25th pick, to get Alexei Pukashevsky. I mean, I remember people saying, this guy had potential because, he's 7 feet with a 7'3" wingspan, and that just makes NBA fans and GMs and scouts salivate.
Right.
Tall guys with big wingspans, but he's overplaying in Serbia right now, so never really amounted to much. And then during the offseason, Sam Presti basically guaranteed that this was not going to be a good team again next year. Sent Chris Paul to Phoenix for Ty Jerome, Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio in a first. Dennis Schroeder went to the Lakers for Danny Green and Jaden McDaniels. McDaniels would eventually get rerouted in the Quickly Poku trade though, so thank that happened. Imagine if this Thunder team with as good a defense as they had, throw Jaden McDaniels on that team too.
God damn.
Unstoppable.
Steven Adams is sent to the Pelicans in a 4-team deal that netted the Thunder back Kendrick Williams, George Hill, and a future pick. And then the Thunder also opted to not re-sign Nerlens Noel, so basically guaranteed they'd be a lottery team next season.
Forgot to mention, during the 2020 offseason, the Thunder also parted ways with head coach Billy Donovan at the end of the season. Wasn't fired, his contract had just run out and both parties decided not to renew it. I think this is one of the few times that we had a mutual parting of ways that was actually a mutual parting of ways and not just a cover story of, we fired this guy.
Yeah.
They were going into a rebuild. Donovan, I don't think, wanted to be part of that. He wanted to move on to something else. Thunder were like, fine, we've got someone we could promote. An actual mutual parting of ways.
It's very rare, and they promote Mark Dagnall. I mean, we've seen the trend recently, teams promoting from within, and I think success stories like Mark Dagnall with the Thunder are a big reason why. He's been incredible there. It's been a perfect fit, but not surprisingly, in his first season, they were I mean, they sent away all the core players. They still had Shea, of course, but that's about it. You go 22-50 in his first season at the helm. The bright spot was Shea, continued to improve, 23.7 points a night. Lou Dort also improved off his rookie season. But besides that, a tough year for the Thunder, and only their 3rd season since moving to Oklahoma City where they missed the playoffs.
They're so spoiled.
They really are.
It pisses me off, but do have to mention that they took on Al Horford's contract in exchange for a 76ers top 6 protected pick. Still hasn't conveyed, so over the next couple years, we'll see if the Sixers can stay out of the top 6. I mean, you'd think they could, but they're also the Sixers, so who knows? Maybe they get another first round pick. They did flip Al Horford to Boston though in order to take on Kemba Walker's contract and a first in 2021. I mean, this dude Sam Presti out here just, playing 2K where, you're flipping the old veterans that are like, maybe like 2 stars, 2.5 stars in terms of prestige, but you're like, who can I get like an extra first round pick from for this, washed up guy that I don't need?
And a team is always willing to do it for some reason.
In 2K and apparently in real life.
Yeah. OKC would get the 6th pick in the draft this year. That was their own pick, and they use it to take Josh Giddey. I mean, Giddey early on was a promising player. We'll talk about him here soon. And then they actually drafted Sengun with the 16th pick, but immediately sent him to the Rockets for 2 future firsts.
Fucking God.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned earlier, like they took Jaden McDaniels too, but traded him away. Imagine if they had kept Sengun.
Yeah,
Ugh.
exactly. They do not need him, and the Rockets desperately do. And with the 18th pick, another pick, they take Trey Mann. Trey Mann spent a couple years there and was traded later on. And also another player, 55th pick, you take Aaron Wiggins. Just incredible value there, Aaron Wiggins. Solid player off the bench, had some huge games in these finals. So again, just great drafting by OKC.
They traded away a future all-star for basically nothing and still had a pretty decent draft.
Yeah, it's what they do.
Unbelievable.
Besides that, free agency was pretty quiet for them, so it was going to be another rebuilding year in 2022.
Yeah, 22 would end up being the worst year in Thunder history. They had their lowest winning percentage ever, and they really hit rock bottom on December 2nd, 2021, when they set the NBA record for biggest margin of defeat in an NBA game when they lost to the Grizzlies by 73 points.
That's brutal.
They were nearly doubled up. They lost 152 to 79. So, that was rock bottom, but, the moment did come full circle a couple years later that we'll eventually get to.
Yeah, they were one of the worst teams in the league. The positives again, Shea, new career high in scoring. Josh Giddey was pretty good in his rookie year. Lou Dort had the best year of his career thus far, but that's about it. I mean, for all that suffering though, you did get rewarded with the second pick in the 2022 NBA draft, and at least going into this draft, it was seen as like, there were three clear top prospects. You had Paolo Banchero out of Duke, you had Chet out of Gonzaga, and then Jabari Smith Jr. out of Auburn. So getting the second pick was huge, and since Kawhi was out for the Clippers, and they missed out losing the play-in, you also got another lottery pick with the 12th pick, and boy did they take advantage of that. First, you take Chet, second overall out of Gonzaga. I was super high on Chet going into the draft. I thought he should have gone first, and even despite like the health issues he has, I'm still super high on him. I think he can be like a top 10 player one day, as long as he stays healthy. So that was a great pick there. And then with the 12th pick, you get, in my opinion, at least thus far, the best player in this draft, Jalen Williams out of Santa Clara, the steal of the draft. I mean, he's the only guy who's made an all-NBA team. He's been fantastic, stepped up big in these finals. Just incredible that you get these two guys out of this draft.
They also traded for the 11th pick, Ousmane Dieng, sending the Knicks some future firsts. Hasn't really done much for OKC in his first 3 seasons, but you also pick up the other Jalen Williams in the second round, and he's not a huge contributor either, but, good locker room guy, and for the 34th pick, can't ask for much more. Also, it's just hilarious that they have two guys named Jalen Williams on their team.
Yeah,
it's just funny.
Same draft.
Same draft, same name, separated by a couple of letters. It's just funny.
Again, it was a pretty quiet free agency. I mean, they mainly built this team through the draft, but good pickup here, Isaiah Joe. He spent his first season with the 76ers, and then they bring him in. He didn't do much the first couple seasons, but he had some games this year where he torched teams, and he can get hot from three, and just another solid rotation guy off the bench.
2023 was the big breakout year for the Thunder. Shea took a massive leap, upped his scoring to 31.4 points per game, made his first All-Star team, All-NBA first team, even finished 5th in MVP voting for a team that finished under 500. Jalen Williams had a great rookie year, finished 2nd in Rookie of the Year voting. Josh Giddey continued to build off his rookie season and looked like a guy who could be a future All-Star. Lou Dort cemented himself as one of the best defenders in the NBA. The only downside really was that Chet missed his entire rookie season after breaking his foot in the offseason. Happened at Jamal Crawford's Pro AM when he was guarding LeBron. Just like,
yeah, so random.
How unlucky can you get? So that was terrible. But despite that, the Thunder still won 40 games, got them the 10th seed. They beat New Orleans on the road in the first play-in game, but then got trucked by Minnesota in the second game. So, you're still not making the playoffs, but like, you can see the vision, right? Things are starting to fall into place. The young guys are getting better. Shea looks like he's on the rise as a potential superstar. This is when I was really worried. This is when I started to get worried. I was like, this team in a couple years,
yeah,
they are going to be a problem.
And all the draft picks they had, I mean, they trade up in this draft to get the 10th pick and select Cason Wallace. Really solid pick. He started a few games in the finals. Another perimeter defender this team has, can hit an open three. And once again, quiet free agency, but barring a major injury, this team was going to be back to the playoffs in 2024. So like we said, we expected OKC to be back in the playoffs. I know before the season you said they'd be a top 4 team, and that was even like a little bit of a hot take.
A little bit.
Well, they won 57 games and got the first seed in a stacked Western Conference. Shea, again, was incredible. Once again, he was an all-star, all-NBA first team, and this time, second MVP voting, only behind Jokic. Jalen Williams built off that rookie year, up to scoring to 19 points a night. And Chet, in technically his rookie season, finished second in Rookie of the Year voting and made an instant impact for them. Josh Giddey was the one negative. I mean, he really regressed this season. But even then, the Thunder were still able to get the first seed. They did make that one just random ass trade, bringing in Gordo. I think they wanted like a veteran playoff experience before the playoffs started.
If you want a veteran with playoff experience, you can do better than Gordo.
Right, washed up Gordo. Sent out Davis Bertans, Trey Mann, Vasilije Micic, hopefully pronounced that right. Yeah, again, the idea was you bring in a veteran playoff experience, but I just remember Gordo had some tough moments for this team.
And didn't Presti go on record like a couple years later and be like, I missed on that one?
I think he might have done it like immediately after the offseason. He was like, yeah, that was a miss.
Yeah. Regardless, round 1, the Thunder made quick work of the Pelicans, swept them 4-0, but they'd fall to the Mavericks in round 2. Not much shame in that. That Mavericks team obviously went on to the NBA Finals, but the series exposed some of the Thunder's problems, primarily their lack of front court depth and playoff experience. So shortly after the season ended, Sam Presti got right to work, addressed one of those issues right away, sent Josh Giddey to the Bulls for Alex Caruso. Everyone at the time was like, this is an insane fleece by the Thunder. Like, Giddey was weirdly viewed as like a negative asset at the time. Like, the Thunder maybe didn't really want him, and you're getting back one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. Don't got to give up any first-round picks or anything. It's kind of turned more into a bit of a win-win trade. Giddey's kind of established himself as a piece that the Bulls want to build around, and Caruso, I mean, you want to talk about just a perfect fit with this Thunder team.
Yeah.
I can't think of like a role player who fits better with a team, maybe since like Tony Allen with those Grizzlies teams.
Yeah, championship experience with Caruso, a guy who had so many big plays, steals, three-pointers. He can do it all for this Thunder team, so that was a huge pickup. They then draft Nikola Topic with the 12th pick in the draft. He was coming off tearing his ACL shortly before the draft, so they didn't really need a contributor right away, and this was a guy before the ACL injury. He was seen as like maybe the first overall pick, at the very least top 3, top 5, so just another thing to be worried about for the Thunder. They have this guy coming back, should be able to play next season, and then they took Dylan Jones with the 26th pick. He didn't really play much for them this season at least, and AJ Mitchell with the 38th pick. He played a little bit, nice, young backup point guard, so another draft, getting good value, and then they addressed their lack of size. They go out and get Isaiah Hartenstein in free agency. Perfect addition for them, veteran with playoff experience, fits their timeline. You can pair him with Chet. He can be assurance when Chet's out, and the contract, you said it before recording, like it looks super big at first, but then you look into it, the team option, it lines up when J-Dub and Chet get their extensions. Perfect.
Yeah, you see the headline like when Shams tweets it. It's like they signed Hartenstein for 3 years, $90 million. You're like, I'm sorry. What? 3 for him? 3 years, $90 million? And then, you look into it and you're like, oh my God, this is genius. This is so fucking smart. Just, again, Sam Presti, 10 out of 10, another offseason. That brings us to what they did this year. Thunder were basically the favorites to win the Western Conference, and boy, did they blow everyone out of the water. 68 wins, just ran away with the first seed out west. Shea wins MVP. J-Dub has a breakout season, makes his first All-Star team, All-Defensive second team, and All-NBA third team. Chet, despite only playing 32 games, still emerges as one of the best rim protectors in the entire NBA. The supporting cast behind them has been incredible. You sweep Memphis in round 1, lay a 51-point beatdown on those guys in game 1, little payback for the 73-point loss a couple years prior, take out the Nuggets in 7 in the second round, beat the Wolves in 5 in the conference finals, and then hang on to beat maybe the scrappiest Pacers team of all time in 7 games in the finals. Just, after they had Durant and Westbrook and Harden, it looked like they were destined to, maybe win multiple championships, and it all just never really materialized for them to fall apart and then have such a quick rebuild. I mean, it really only took them like 3 years to go from rock bottom to one of the best single seasons we've seen in NBA history.
Yeah, this is just incredible. I mean, we made a video recently, like what happened to NBA dynasties, and it's just one title. I'm not going to say this is a dynasty. Now, I mean, we're in an era of parity. It's so hard to repeat. There's the new CBA, the second apron. There's so many things going against them, but you look at their core, how good they are. J-Dub and Chet are only going to get better. They have all these picks. They have, young guys who are going to get better. This could be the team. This could be the team that does it. We'll see how it goes.
We've been saying that for a couple years now.
Yeah, but we have have not seen a team like this with those picks. Like, say they lose a guy like Cason Wallace in free agency here soon, like when he's up for a contract extension. They just got all these picks to replace him, or they can trade for guys if they need. This team's scary. I mean, we said it before. OKC fans, you guys are spoiled as hell. I don't care if you had so many like heartbreaking moments. You guys have barely not made the playoffs in your franchise history in Oklahoma City.
There's so many heartbreaking moments. 2 years where you missed the playoffs.
Yeah, but I mean, they finally had it happen. It kind of feels overdue in some ways. And yeah, I'm scared of this team, not just for now, they're already so dominant, but for years to come, they're going to be tough to beat. So what do you guys think? Could this be the NBA's next dynasty, or are they just going to get taken down like every other repeating champ? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving me a like, and hey, while you're here, check out some other content as well. And don't forget to subscribe to Synthetic Sports.